Jennifer King, and I'm the owner of Eversweet Apiaries in Kearneysville. I have deep roots in Jefferson County. My seventh great grandfather was Nicholas Lehman, and he was one of the 5 persons that was granted land from Lord Fairfax. And my business, Eversweet Apiaries, we're a beekeeping supply business. We have about 50 hives. Our main mission is free bee education. I heard about Rockwool probably about the same time most people did, like the end of July. I might have heard about them earlier than that, but I was one of the people that thought they were going to be like a warehouse center. I didn't know that they were going to be a heavy industry manufacturing factory. And I remember reading about it on Facebook, like how did this happen? How is this possible that nobody knew, about this? And so my initial concern was for my honeybees, because my honeybees are located within a 3-mile radius of Rockwool's facility, and the shop here is about 3/4 of a mile away from their facility. And honeybees already have so many environmental problems as it is. And then I started doing the research. Well, how does pollution, when I saw that their air permit and what they were going to be emitting, over 155,000 tons of pollutants per year, started researching what each of these pollutants will do to my honeybees. And there are studies out there that do confirm that pollution is not good for honeybees, that it masks the floral trails. And that's how bees find flowers, is through the floral scents and the trails. So it masks it so they can't find these flowers. And then also, honeybees are biomarkers, the indicators of our environment. So anything that they touch, they bring that back home to their colony. So that gets in the wax, that gets in the honey. And then also carbon dioxide is a huge problem for plants, and it weakens the plant system. It reduces the protein in the pollen, and bees, that's one of their major food sources is pollen, and that's how they get their protein. So basically they're going to be like eating junk food. So then that was my initial concern, was the honeybees. Then as I started doing more research, because I just couldn't believe how this happened, why didn't we know about this? And then when I realized that this was a collaborative cohort effort to conceal this and fast track this project, then I realized right away this was bigger than just Rockwool. It was our local and state government corruption and collusion that brought this here. And we can see that from the Ransom Freedom of Information documents. All of the players that were involved in this to make this happen in a very short time period. So basically we didn't have much time to object, even if we did find out. And they had code names, Project Shuttle. They signed non-disclosure agreements. So basically this project was happening within 6 months' time, which is unheard of. Usually these projects, take like 2 years to plan and make happen. But we actually saw in the Deloitte papers, Deloitte was their consulting firm for Rockwool. I called it a demand letter, because it got sent to Rockwool like, this is everything that we want from you all. And one of the ones was their air permit fast tracked. How do you even do that? How do you fast track an air permit? But it happened. And then we saw that Andy Blake, he was very proud of the fact that this happened, that it got fast tracked, and like, this is unheard of. And it's so aggravating and frustrating that our voices got stolen, and now our voices continue to get stolen and stifled. Our government is not listening to us. Some of our government officials are even making fun of us and talking about how we're chicken littles. It's very insulting that parents that are just concerned about their children's health, are being ridiculed. Financially, I think that having Rockwool in my life and in my business's life is going to cause a huge financial stressor to me and my business, as it's that bees, it's already tough as it is for them to survive, and so I'm going to, keep losing bees, and it is very hard to determine why did a colony die. It's usually several things. And Rockwool has said, they've had hives, around other factories and they're just fine. And I'm sure they're not just fine. But if studies were actually done, particularly on pollutants, then we would see that they're not fine. I might have to start getting my honey tested because that would be the responsible thing to do. That's very expensive to get that done. Some people said, well, why don't you just move your hives? Why should I have to move my hives? Why should I have to move them farther out? And where would I do that since their air shed is 35 miles? Where am I going to put my bees? So what about my rights, as a property owner and business owner? Why are their rights so much more important than mine? Rockwool talks a lot about how they're going to be really great for the community, talk about how they're going to provide 150 good paying jobs. That's the same carrot and stick trick that, most businesses tell communities when they move in. It's surely what, the trick in the con game, and it's the economical con game that they pull on people. And it's worked, it will work in other places that do not have other jobs available. Like, they don't have a lot of choices. Like Southern West Virginia, there might not be a lot of alternatives for jobs. So basically, you're going to take this dirty job and you're going to love it because we're not going to give you anything else. And in the Eastern Panhandle, though, just because where we're geographically located, we have more options. And so this same trick and con game that they pull throughout the rest of the state and other places, it doesn't apply here. We have the lowest, we were the second lowest unemployment county that had unemployment. Now we're the lowest. It's at 2.5%. So and everybody's like, well, who's going to turn down jobs? And we have jobs that we cannot fill. Procter & Gamble cannot fill all of these positions. So there is no benefits for this company to be here. And as a matter of fact, there's negative, factors with the pollution and all that. And so the same, economic trick is not going to work here. And these economic incentives and corporate welfare that they give to these bigger corporations is just wrong, and it's not fair. Small businesses struggle to stay afloat. Small businesses beg for scraps to, the Small Business Administration, and you have to jump through all these hoops to even get small loans. Whereas these big corporations can come in and just get millions of dollars, and just like that. And then there's no system, checks and balances, to even make sure that they're hiring the right amount of people that they said that they were going to be hiring. We can look at Rockwool's invoices that they provided to Charlestown, and we saw that there was much fluctuation in their water and sewage, and they admitted that, okay, we have downtime. Well, if you have downtime, then you also have employment downtime. So, and we can see from their reviews on Indeed.com and Glassdoor that most reviews said it is not stable employment. If it's not stable, what are you really offering anybody? It's just like any other factory job. And they're probably going to keep people, at like 36 hours so they don't have to give them the benefits. It's the same trick that we've seen everywhere else from corporations. And so if the state would invest in small businesses like they do in these bigger corporations, we would see a lot more improvement, statewide. I am confident that if the state gave me that money, I could provide way more than 150 jobs, because the beekeeping industry is a great industry. It's a great market. The bees have got a lot of problems, but they're definitely needed. That's something that's not going to pollute the environment. So it's very frustrating and it's not fair that they get this. And we've seen, before this happened, I didn't even know what economic incentives were. And then I see that this has been going on since like the 90s. And this is just a terrible, economic model. Louisiana is realizing that they're literally paying to get poisoned. And so they're uprising against it, all the parishes down there, and realizing we're getting ripped off. We're getting the short end of the stick in this. And so I hope that more places around the nation will just, we got to stop doing this.